Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so we have a trade, a Laker trade. I can't believe I'm actually saying the Lakers made a trade. The Lakers made an actual trade today. Right now, a trade was made by the Los Angeles Lakers to acquire Patrick Beverly. Welcome, Pat Bev, to the Lakers. First of all, welcome, Pat Bev, to the Lakers. This is not minor. Hold on. Welcome, Patrick Beverly, back to the Los Angeles Lakers. This ain't minor. I am happy Patrick Beverly's here. All right? I got to get that out the way because I'm not in love with the acquisition, the transaction rather. But I am in love with acquiring the player. So Patrick Beverly joining this team is a good thing, everybody. That's a good thing. All right? That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is, why in the hell did you give away Stanley Johnson and THT for an older guy, man? What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Do not do deals with Danny Ainge. I keep telling people, do not do deals with Danny Ainge. You overpaid for my man Patrick Beverly. Beverly's here. I understand he has an expiring contract at $13 million coming in directly off of the books. So we're going to be big-time players in the trade market mid-season or right now, maybe moving around some more because we just got 4 years off of our books and exchange it for 1 year of Patrick Beverly. So I understand from a contractual standpoint what the Lakers were able to do, getting Stanley Johnson at 2 years, $2 million off the books, and getting THT at 2 years, $10 million off the books. Now here's the problem. I would have never in a million years agreed to trading Stanley Johnson. I just want to let everybody know that that's something that blindsided me. I'm angry about it. I'm not going to make that the focus of the video, but Stanley Johnson was a very important perimeter defensive player for the Los Angeles Lakers who rarely missed open shots that he was always left open for. He did nothing but play great for us. He's from the Los Angeles area. And I believe that he found a home here, and I believe we made a mistake trading him away at that value. So I just want to put that out there. That's where Danny Ainge really got over. There's no way in hell he should have been able to get Stanley Johnson at that price. Not to say that it matters because he's not going to be a winning now team anyway. Stanley's not going to particularly have the same role with him as he would have had for us. So hopefully he can find himself in a situation where they can trade him to a team that he can be used in. But this is one of those situations where I would have not been happy sitting down having to vote on this deal. I would not have been the guy that said yes to this. I'm sorry. But that has nothing, like I said, nothing to do with me wanting Patrick Beverly on this year's basketball team. I just feel like we could have got him a different way. I felt like he was a buyout candidate. I felt like he was not going to be able to get traded for any other price other than, somebody overpaying for him, for which we did. I think his value is a bit inflated based on how well he played for the Timberwolves. And, of course, his name being kind of in our faces with what took place in the offseason with him being on ESPN. My thing with Patrick Beverly is when he's a player, when he's on, his conditioning is right, of course I know he's one of the great defenders in all of basketball. Underrated, great defender. Problem is, he be getting injured, man. He be getting injured. He had a very, very good season last year where he was healthy. But that's not him all the time. I only expect him to play about 50 games, y'all. If that. And I'm being kind. About 50 games. So at an expiring contract with him having an intricate role on the team, I wanted us to acquire him in the second half of the season so that, first of all, he could prove that he's going to make it to the second half of the season with somebody else, and then be a buyout candidate for us at a much lesser price than $13 million for this year, and still be expiring because we would then be able to have him come off the books at that price. So I just felt like that was a better plan. I understand the Lakers need to hurry up and make a move. I understand THT didn't fit. We need to get him to a situation where he can have the ball in his hands. I love that he's going to Utah. That's an entirely different conversation, but I'm really happy he's going to a blank canvas like that. That's fantastic. And I think his future is super bright in Utah, man. Super bright, like blindingly bright. So I'm excited about THT. This was fantastic for him. I'm thrilled for THT that he's going up to Salt Lake City. God, I couldn't have thought. I think that's the best place for him. To be honest with you, when I think about all the places I would want him to go, I want him to go somewhere just like Ben Simmons, he has the ball in his hands, and then you can surround him with players that fit him, because he doesn't fit in every situation. And he really, really, really is going to be a great, well, I don't know if great is the right word. That's a hell of a level, but I think he's going to turn into a heck of a player, man. I really do. I think his intangibles, his metrics with his arms and his hands, it's inevitable that he's going to put it together once he matures as a basketball player. So he's a point guard, shooting guard, in my opinion, but probably somebody you just want to just put the ball in his hands, accept the fact that, like Russell Westbrook, like LeBron James, he's going to turn the ball over all the time if you do that. But if you give him enough reps in practice as the point guard, and you let him run the offense, eventually you will see how elite he can be as a player at that position. I really believe that. And I know it's going to be a learning curve and it's going to suck. But you got time. You're Utah. So that's what I'm saying. This is great for him, period. However, there's no way in hell you're supposed to be giving away a player that age and get back a guy Patrick Beverly's age. That is ill-advised in every way, shape, and form, even for our circumstances. I understand we're a win-now team, but there's a certain thing that we understand. It's called value. And trust you me, if Danny Ainge wasn't getting it, he would not have pulled the trigger on the trade. He's not going to get a trade that is not lopsided to hell. You should not have given THT away in this deal. Not for Patrick Beverly, even at an expiring contract. No, absolutely not. Not as an expiring contract. Not when you know that it's a good chance that he's going to get traded to a team that is going to buy him out, and you would have still landed him either way. It's just not how you allocate your assets. This is not how you do it. I understand we're hitting the panic button because we got to make moves. Maybe there's another move that we could make because of the creation of the cap space. But did we really create cap space when you consider we match the salaries? I understand the Lakers believe Patrick's a piece. So do I. I understand the Kyrie news. It's very unfortunate. We don't see a direct path to being able to acquire Kyrie now. It's looking like Brooklyn's starting to believe in themselves in regards to running it back, even though I secretly think that they actually were just trying to gain leverage by doing all of this. They still want to move everybody, in my opinion. Or rather, everybody still wants to be moved. But that's just my speculation. I don't have a whole lot to hang my hat on in regards to that. Either way, if the Lakers do make another move in regards to like the Indy trade, getting back Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, that will pretty much firmly shut the door on any Kyrie Irving acquisition. And in my mind, will probably shut the door on any chance of us being an NBA champion this year. So if I'm the Lakers, I ain't doing nothing that's going to otherwise compromise those pieces. Now, what does moving Stanley Johnson and THT out of the lineup do for the Los Angeles Lakers roster? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't envision this roster without Stanley Johnson and THT, but what I can say is, just by default, I think our shooting improved. I hate to be that guy, but I think our defense, our shooting specifically, did improve. THT clanked a lot of threes for us, man, and he shot them at a horrible rhythm. He just did not find his rhythm on this team very much. He had some good games for us. Clearly, we saw him play very well at the end of the season, but for the most part, his shooting was bad. And Stanley Johnson, like I said, they leave him open for a reason, but like I said as well, he knocks him down. So all in all, he's not a good shooter historically, and you didn't expect him to just start hitting threes this season or have a big jump in that way. So I understand the Lakers needed shooting, and the part of getting shooting is getting rid of the guys that cannot shoot. And so that was, I think, part of the logic there. Moving THT out also, like I said, turnovers come down because it was imperative the Lakers moved him. Let's just be clear. He was almost as important to move as Russell Westbrook is, because you can't have a player like him who needs the ball in his hands and turns the ball over as much as he does, bricks as much as he does, be paired up with Russell Westbrook, who literally does the same thing. And the problem was they have such high usage because of their contracts and because of who you expect, as you expect them to be as cachet in this league. You got to play them at the same time at some point, and they just don't fit on this roster together. So That's what it really was. You just had to move him. That might have been the urgency for the Lakers to pay such a price tag to get this deal done, but I just don't think THT was that undesirable of a piece. You give him a half a season, and he's going to be worth much more at the trade deadline. As to which you would then make a trade, who knows, for a player that you can definitely know is streaking in the right direction. You know what I mean? You can, because players are running around at that time, you know who's healthy, who's not. You can make a more educated guess as to what's best value for THT at that time, in my opinion. Right? And then at that same time, you then acquired the same player you just traded him for, Patrick Beverly, who I think is a good chance would have been a buyout candidate, who I think if we're not a good team will end up a buyout candidate. And that's what can suck for us, although we probably should let it expire. Never mind that. Either way, it's the type of situation where it's like, you do understand that you traded away young players for a guy who's not going to be here next year. And when THT goes on to be whoever he's going to be, you will understand that you could have gotten more for him if you just would have let him mature a little bit more. So I hate that for us. I know better, and this is a bad trade by Rob Pelinka. What can I say? It's just a bad trade. Good idea, good acquisition in terms of just bringing the player in. But to let Danny Ainge get you like this, I mean, everybody's talked about this many times. It was a joke early on. We thought you guys were kidding. We didn't actually think you would give away a 22-year-old player for a 32-year-old player. On top of that, you threw in another 29-year-old guy who plays defense and is starting to trend upwards. I mean, you gotta be kidding me, Rob. What are you doing, bro? Like, seriously, what are you doing? You know, I value youth. And like I said, the timeline is real. We got it right now. And like I said, I had no intention of Patrick Beverly not being a part of our team. He's going to be here if I'm running things. But this ain't how you acquire him, bro. You do not do a deal with Danny Ainge to acquire a guy that would otherwise be a buyout candidate. And if Patrick Beverly goes down, bro, I'm going to think about the fact that we had Stanley Johnson, arguably our best on-ball wing defender, on a 2-year deal worth $2 million. The only reason why he was making $2 million is because he had yet to prove himself when he signed the damn thing. We know he's worth more than that now. He's supposed to be part of our future at a low price. We talk about the importance of role players. You just gave away a very good upside role player who's finally starting to find his way in this league for a guy who's going to be on his way out of this league. I have a long pause here because this team this year, you know, if we make another trade that doesn't involve Kyrie Irving and we run this team and it ain't good enough, this is one of them situations where I'm going to remember this trade. I'm going to be like, yo, we did not properly delegate value in this situation. And when you have a player that young with that much upside, THT, when you botch everything about his situation, the last thing you freaking do is botch the trade that gets him out of here, man. Like, seriously. Fans are going to love this because Patrick Beverly has a big name. But people who know basketball know damn well Patrick Beverly has no fantasy value. Why are you giving away a 23-year-old player for him, bro? Seriously. That's almost a fireable offense in my mind. It's almost fireable. Like, it's a joke. This is something you do not do when you know what you're doing. And as a Laker fan, I'm not going to take little stuff like this lightly because it speaks to something that I don't want to admit. And that is that Rob Pelinka has made some crappy trades. That Russell Westbrook trade was garbage. That Zubac trade was garbage. This trade is garbage. It's been some trades, man. They're piling up, Rob. And I know this has been a very tough market. But you did a deal with a dude that made the market impossible to make moves because of how he values things. That was not the way to go. That was not the way to go, man. I need to know what move you're going to make that's going to make this move make sense from a contractual standpoint, because that's the only thing that I can say here is that you got some years off the books. So that means that we're going to get extra $14 million in cap space at the end of next season. That had better be used in a very, very good way, man. Because that is the key to this bad trade here. Is what you're going to be able to create with that expiring contract come next summer. And we're going to think about that. That's $14 million. I'm going to be watching very closely where that $14 million go. Because I know where THT's headed if he doesn't get hurt in his career. Upwards. And my thing is, when a guy is this age, all you got to do is give him five more months, dog. Just wait 5 more months. Because he's going to make a jump just off of the sheer understanding of his age if he don't get hurt. Just for the sheer understanding he's going to put on muscle if he don't get hurt. A kid that age, you got to wait for his body to mature till you understand what the hell he is. You got to let him get some facial hair before you know what time it is with a player like that. You can't give him away when you know damn well you paid him because of his metrics, not because of his game. It was because he had longer arms and bigger hands than everybody else. You just gave away somebody like that because you were frustrated with him as a kid because you made stupid moves that didn't make the team make any sense around him. You got rid of him because of that stupid move that you did to get Russell Westbrook. You ain't giving away a 23-year-old player because it makes sense. You're giving away a 23-year-old player because you did some other dumb stuff that did not make sense. Come on. And so that's where I'm at with it, man. I don't have a problem with the players that you brought to this team, but if anybody's confused about our team being good enough to win a championship right now, then we're not. We're not. No, absolutely not. And you got to understand, even though I said we were improving our shooting, Patrick Beverly's a solid three-point shooter who can hit some shots. He's going to hit some threes. So our three-point shooting did improve, but not in a way where you say, okay, we ready to go. We got our shooting. No, Patrick ain't helping us like that. No, his impact's going to be on the defensive end more so. He going to hound people. He going to give us an identity, which does hold value in bringing him in at the beginning of the season, by the way. But my concern is you got to weigh that against him getting hurt, which I expect to happen. Which is going to mess with the continuity of that any damn way. It's all about the role we give him. And hopefully we can make sure we have some guards in front of him. Obviously play Pippen and people like that to assure that he doesn't have the role that requires him to even get hurt. You know what I mean? He shouldn't be required to do as much here as he was required to do in Minnesota. So, yeah, man, I am split down the middle. I have two different faces to wear. I'm super excited that Patrick Beverly is a Laker again. If it were up to me, he'd have been a Laker the whole damn time. I would have never cut him. Like, literally, a guy like that, I'd have never cut that dude. That type of energy. I understand that he went through a lot of development overseas and stuff like that, so I'm sure the guy we had was as raw as heck. But given the player that he turned out to be, hell yeah, I'm happy we got Patrick Beverly. Yes, he's worth $13 million or $14 million for one season. Do not get that confused in this conversation. Because a lot of times, those type of things do not get differentiated properly to where you say, that guy doesn't deserve that amount, or I don't think he can live up to playing that amount. That ain't the conversation we have. Absolutely not. I think Patrick Beverly can play $13 million or $15 million, whatever it is, worth of NBA basketball through the 50 games I'm expecting him to play. Definitely think that. He's going to make that much of an impact for sure. But it's just about how you acquire the contract and if it's necessary that you do. I don't think it was. So, that, especially the price tag we paid. When I know THT probably going to be a damn all-star for the Utah Jazz if they develop him properly. Ridiculous. So, that's one of those situations where it's like when you look back 3-4 years, if for some reason the magical greatness awakens in THT and we see the best possible outcome where he's an all-star and has a bunch of great things and maybe even has his number retired in Utah, we're going to remember that they acquired him for Patrick Beverly's expiring contract when Patrick Beverly was in 30-something, 35, 30, whatever year Patrick's living right now, 33 years of age. Whatever it is. It's like, are you kidding me? You gave away a youngster like that? And I know a lot of people are like, but THT sucks, THT sucks. Yes, I understand you don't understand. I get it. I get it. Trust people who do. He just has a lot of development to do. He's never been a part of a situation that's fit him. Never. And he needs the ball in his hands. And most importantly, last season was a wash. And that was literally the first season he actually had real minutes. It was a wash because we had literally no center on the floor at all times, and Russell Westbrook literally has the same strengths and weaknesses that we already said. Didn't fit at all. So when does he get a chance to show that he's better than what it is that we actually, expect him to be? At what point does he get a chance to live up to the contract? See, what I know is going to happen is now they're going to put the ball in his hands in Utah. He's probably going to average 15 points or more. That's what he's going to do. Because he's a big play player. He's going to hit shots. You give him enough rhythm, he's going to go crazy. He just didn't have enough consistent looks, just like Kyle Kuzma. And you see the worst of him, and then you're like, oh, he sucks. But just like everybody else who leaves the Lakers, we know he's not going to suck. We've seen this movie a million times. We know how this goes. THT's going to be great in Utah. Amazing. Why? Because the problem was our style of play last year. No center on the floor, stand around offense, no defense. Like, it was a bad system, a bad roster, bad coaching, bad everything. And it catered to why we saw so much bad, including Russell Westbrook's struggles. So, yeah, no, THT didn't play the year he won the championship at all. The next year, he played a little bit at the end of the season, but most of the time he was played was inconsistent. They had a lot of guards down there, Schroeder and all that in and out of the lineup. Didn't play very much. And then, as I said, last year the system was horrible. It's one of the worst basketball systems ever run. Small ball when you have no talent. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, THT is going to show you guys that he probably was as good as you paid him to be. That's what you're going to find out. The contract wasn't bad. It was you guys. You Lakers, you. All that crap that you had around him was why his value looked as bad as it was. The contract was actually exactly that. He was that. And we're going to find it out very soon. So, yeah, the struggles of being a Laker fan when you just know better. When you absolutely know better. Yeah, it's rough. It's really, really rough. Anyway, so that is what it is, man. Hopefully the Lakers can now officially use these roster spots to slide some guys up. Cole Swider, of course, Jay Huff. Those are the two guys I think must be a part of this roster this year. Now, I know Jay Huff, we could wait till second half of the season because we have so many defensive bigs, et cetera, but the fact that we're lacking shooting and he shoots as a center, I think is a very important piece, especially when you consider the dynamic that we wanted when we had Brook Lopez and when we had the idea of bringing in Marc Gasol, even though it didn't really work out. We always wanted the stretch five. We drafted Jay Huff to be that, and I think it's time for us to give him a role. And I think us creating this roster spot, it would be wise to make sure that he gets some time with the big team this year, man. Don't underestimate his development, because we did that with Mac McClung, and I think he's going to be a hell of a player for the Golden State Warriors this year. So let's stop, playing around with our G Leaguers and give them the real opportunities that I know they will flourish with. So that's what I want us to do. We created some roster spots. Could we bring in, obviously if we make a Kyrie Irving trade, we could bring in like a Joe Harris, a Curry, or maybe if we make a move of somewhere else, we get an Eric Gordon or Buddy Hield or something like that. But if for some reason that's not the plan, I am perfectly happy seeing the Lakers create a roster spot for one of those young guys, or even more than one of those young guys. So, yeah, man, that's what I wanted to say. I saw Christie and Austin Reeves with the Dodger game today. It was pretty cool seeing them get celebrated as Lakers. I keep telling people it's not the same experience if you're a Laker or you're a Clipper. If they were a Clipper, they would be getting booed. Simple as that. That's the difference. Same men, same sport. One is going to be welcome, one is not. It's just that simple. Clippers, I don't know if moving to Inglewood is going to help you there, because I'm living in Inglewood, and I can tell you right now, I don't care about you. So good luck coming this way. But yeah, go Lakers. At any rate, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Kobe Bean Bryant. Of course, this is Kobe Day. In fact, this is at 24 right now, so that's fitting. And we got a lot of love for Kobe, man, so we want to celebrate him. I still got on my number 8. I ain't taking it off. I don't care. It's been on all day, so that's what it is, man. So, yeah, Patrick Beverly, welcome to the Lakers, bro. Welcome to the Lakers. You know I ain't mad at your acquisition. I just want us to be smart about how we make moves. That's all. And I know that there's a separation of that conversation. On one hand, you love having a player. Man, I'm excited. The defense this dude's going to give us from that point guard position, when you couple that with the defensive prowess of a Max Christie, the defensive prowess of Austin Reeves, the defensive mindset of the guards in place, will definitely be something that Patrick Beverly only enhances to the maximum degree. Our defense is going to be ridiculous, y'all. Let me tell you something. The Los Angeles Lakers are a defensive basketball club. When you put Patrick Beverly and Anthony Davis on the same basketball team, I don't think people really understand what the hell we just did right now as it pertains to what type of defensive mindsets can be on the floor at all times. Those are two of the best defensive players in the basketball, period. You're going to have to deal with them, man. You're going to have to deal with them. Patrick Beverly gives us an identity and a culture, and most importantly, a piece of Clipper Nation to slide right into our situation. They've always taken stuff from us. We got your heart and soul, Clippers. We got that. Patrick Beverly is a Laker now once again. He's putting on purple and gold. He's going to ride for us too. He's going to ride for us hard. And we're going to have a hell of a lot of battles going up against you guys. Obviously, he's going to have to be tasked with guarding John Wall a lot of the time and some of the best guards in the league. It's going to be his assignment. I can't wait till we go up against the Pelicans, seeing him go up against Alvarado. That's going to be something worth watching for sure. And just the different matchups that now we can put down the floor. As I've been angry at Rob, I want to sing praises to Rob to say giving us a contrast from what we had last year defensively is going to be something to appreciate, because we did not have defensive players at that guard spot last year. Granted, Austin Reeves was fantastic for us, gave us a lot of effort. Stanley Johnson, we're going to miss him like crazy, ridiculous. Malik Monk was an amazing shooter. We miss him as well, but didn't play defense at an elite level, even though I like Malik Monk defensively, low-key. I think that, when it really came down to it, we just picked up some dogs defensively now, boy. As more I study the young fella Christie, I realize that's where he's going to make his money. A lot of people worried about his three-point shot coming and going and whether or not he's going to be able to finish at the rim and all that stuff will come with strength. But what that kid can do is use his length and his speed to track players. And I'm going to bet that by the end of the season, we're going to see him kick tail on the defensive end if he's given the minutes to do so. I think the same could be for Scottie Pippen, obviously, who has natural ability, of course, with his dad being Scottie Pippen. We know that defense is just going to be a part of what it is that they think and do at all times. It's just how Scottie worked, and he raised his son the same way. So it's already translated. Scottie's an excellent playmaker as well. So, it ain't going to be on, in my humble opinion, Patrick Beverly to really take on too many roles, ball handling and things of that nature. He's a specialty guy. When we need you to come in and guard somebody who's going crazy, that's what he's going to do. Be disruptive, make life hard on some of these guards, give them something to think about other than basketball. That's what he's going to do. But as far as him having to run plays and stuff like that, we got plenty of ball handlers and plenty of help defenders that can give us a lot of good defensive rotations. We got good defensive centers as well now, bringing in Bryant, bringing in, I can't think of Jones' name all the time, but of course, Jones. As I mentioned, Huff, as well as, of course, Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? What we have are guys that can play defense on the perimeter as well as in the interior if necessary, interchangeable pieces. So, all in all, I do think that the letting go of Stanley Johnson could be potentially a big problem because he was such a major factor guarding small forwards. And given the fact that small forward in the wing position is so tough to find at this point, we just practically gave away two of them and did not get any in return. There's no practically about it. That's exactly what we did. So, kudos to Danny Ainge for finessing the Lakers out of two wings in this market, which is just another head scratcher. But, hate the trade. I really, really hate the trade, but I love Patrick Beverly being a part of the Lakers. That's the truth. That's what it is, man. That is what I see there. Um, talk about Patrick Beverly just in the type of role he's going to have. He's going to be tough. He's going to give us what we need. He's going to give us 3-point shooting at times, but more importantly, he's going to be a dog. He's going to be a dog. He's going to be loud. He's going to rep the Lakers hard. That's what he's going to do. He's going to try to get us to the playoffs, and we know if he's on the team, that's what's happening. If he's on the team, he don't miss the playoffs. So that's what you're signing up for. A guaranteed playoff just by default because he's a lucky charm like that, and he's going to do things that contribute to success. Simple as that. So, yeah, we happy about that. We definitely happy about bringing him in. Not only that, but for the vision of Kyrie Irving, in terms of what fits him, you definitely wanted to see us pick up more defensive point guards and players that can otherwise take away the pressure for him to have to guard some of those guys himself. This allows for so much defensive help, defensive support, both on the court and off the court for Kyrie if he's going to be part of our team. So I love how we're building. I felt Christie draft pick was also catered to that vision as well. And of course, Russell Westbrook's defensive deficiencies as well, obviously. So just the mindset. Now, I do, and I've mentioned this before, worry about the Lakers' mindset as it pertains to overcompensating for previous year's deficiencies. We just tend to do that, and I think we've done it again. It's like, okay, last year we wanted so much in terms of shooting. Great, cool, we got shooting. But we didn't get enough intangibles in other areas. This year we got everything but shooting. It's like we're going to need to, in building this team, stop looking at it as something that needs to be plugged up in terms of, okay, we got a hole here, let's plug it up. There's a hole there, plug it up. Because what ends up happening is when you think like that, you end up opening up new holes. And granted, it's difficult to build. It's not the easiest field, out there in terms of, the contracts and all that. It's hard to move. But I just think the overall vision, a lot of times, it seems to me, it's just, okay, overcompensate for what we didn't have. God, we didn't have this, so let's get a lot of it this time. It's like, no, that's not going to provide you what you're looking for. You're just going to find yourself always trying to do that every time you create new holes. So that's just something I'm noticing with Rob Pelinka. That's it's a pattern of just I would love to see stop, if possible. And if it's not, fine, good. I like the correction of holes. Correction of problems is a good thing, but you just don't want to create problems in the process. So just what I see there. So all in all, we're gonna miss those guys, man. THT, Stanley Johnson. You guys gave us some good basketball. THT is an NBA champion with the Los Angeles Lakers. Granted, he didn't play very much, but we got to acknowledge that we're letting the champion walk out the door, and that's meaningful, man. That's meaningful. Everybody wins a championship here. Yeah, that's Laker lore. Can't nobody take that from you. I listened to news that Slava Stanvadenko, I think it was Stanislav Medvedenko, sorry, our great NBA champion. I'm pretty sure he won a championship with us as well, or two. Gave away 2 championship rings, of course, 2 of them, and sold them, if I'm not mistaken, to Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul was the other guy on the end of it, but and gave and dedicated it and the money to Ukraine. Donated is the word I'm looking for, of course, in regards to the relief efforts over there. So I just want to acknowledge that and give a shout out to our great champion Medvedenko for just a fantastic gesture of patriotism for his people, man. I'd love to see it, and that's where I stand on that. So that's something that I think I would love to see the Lakers then replace his replica so he could get his rings back. There's no reason why he should be without those rings just because he sold them, in my opinion. He earned that, and you can make $1 million of them. So get a man his rings, especially since he did it for that. Yeah, man, for sure. I would love to see him get those back. So that's what I gotta say, man. That's what I gotta say. The next move will be made. I can tell you the transactions are underway. Once you see something like this happen, you understand that the domino effects have begun. There will be more trades. In fact, there might be another video made tonight if there's another trade, because I'm going to be talking about it, whatever it is. I don't anticipate it's going to be something that we're super excited about, because I just don't think the Lakers are going to give up any of those assets that they can use to acquire Kyrie Irving before knowing that they can't get him for sure, and I just don't think that that's what we know just yet. Um, Also, not only that, but of course, um, I don't expect the Nets to make a trade with us for Kyrie Irving at all before the season starts. So that's just how I see it. I think they're very much firm on starting the season, and I think they want to put up a very good face at this point as an organization over there. It's a lot of turmoil, a lot of confusion, a lot of bad looks just all the way around, a lot of bad PR, and they do have a lot of support, as we see in the media every day. As I call ESPN, ESPN stands for Everyone Speaks Positively About the Nets. But nevertheless, we don't care about them other than the fact that we want their point guard, and we're hopeful, so hopeful, that they will just relinquish him and allow him to join us and LeBron James once again, where he won a championship back in Cleveland with the man, and I think they can win another one here in Los Angeles if they get enough tries at it. So that's what I think. That's what I think should happen, and I'm excited about what we're going to do. Now, I want to say, I've heard that the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. I don't know that we have anything that would give us even a remote chance at being able to pay that price tag. So the reason why I didn't make a video on it or didn't dedicate too much to it is because we simply cannot do it. We don't have the pieces. The only way we can get Donovan Mitchell is if we're willing to trade probably Anthony Davis and probably picks on top of that. And the reason why I would say something so ridiculous as that is because it's Danny Ainge, and that's exactly what he's going to ask for. You think he's just going to give you a head up Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Davis? Not the way he's pricing things. No, in his mind, Anthony Davis is only half of what Donovan Mitchell is worth to him. So that's why I don't do no. If I'm the GM, I'm not doing no deals with that man. But hey, whatever. We had to complete our team, and I guess this most definitely gets us one step closer. There ain't no I guess. We're certain it does. We needed to get rid of THT. Period. We didn't need to get rid of Stanley Johnson, though. So I am questioning that. I'm going to be thinking about that, and I might talk about it a little more tomorrow because I just know better. I know better. You don't do that. But I also understand that if we didn't give him up, it would probably had to be Austin Reeves or Kendrick Nunn or someone like that. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing there. But I just think that perimeter defense and that size, man, when you consider how durable Stanley had been as well, you think about how hard it is to find quality role players. I don't know, man. That does not sit well with me at all. So I don't want to put that out there, man. But yeah, I think I've said enough, man. That's what I got. BDF 44. Happy Kobe Day, everybody. BDF. Peace.